Probably make a start. Hi, welcome everybody this afternoon, and welcome to our next two speakers, which are Laura Kefford and Monica Davis, who are going to talk about raising awareness of abusive head trauma and ICON within the multi-agency. Just to say, if everybody could go on silent, so we don't get any sound noise, and switch cameras off if you're not presenting. Otherwise it makes it difficult to see. I will answer any questions in the chat box that are generic if anybody puts any in, if I can. If not, Monica and Laura will happily take questions at the end. If you don't have any questions today, you can also email me and I'll Sue Anslow at info@ICON Cope, and I'll make sure Monica and Laura get those questions. We have online a little evaluation at the end of each webinar. It's the same link for the whole week, but it's on individual webinars. So if you could spare a couple of minutes just to complete that, that'd be really helpful. The sessions are being recorded and will be on the website as we're progressing through the week. They'll be added onto there. I'd like to hand over now to Laura and Monica. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for coming to hear us speak. It's a real privilege to be part of ICON Week and deliver this webinar. So firstly, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name's Laura Kefford. I'm the Named Nurse for Children Safeguarding for the Harrow 0 to 19 service. And my colleague Monica.
Monica Davis. I'm the clinical lead for Harrow 0 to 19 service.
And we're here to talk to you about raising awareness of abusive head trauma and ICON within the multi-agency. So if we can go on to the next slide. So we thought it would be really good to talk about, how we started, really, what led us here. And it was a case of which we've named baby K for to remain anonymous. So this was a case of a first-time mother who experienced low mood following the birth of her baby, which affected her ability to manage the baby and especially manage when the baby would not settle or stop crying. She sought help through mental health, and she disclosed to a therapist that she had on occasion hit and shaken her baby. This was a case that required quite a bit of challenge from health services to the local authority, as the case was initially seen as a Section 17, which is Child in Need Plan, and that's really where a child will need additional support to meet their potential, and not seen as a child that has suffered or likely to suffer significant harm, which is where we felt that threshold lay. The mum had no direct support from family members due to lockdown, and her husband worked long hours too. And consequently, as a first-time mother, she was particularly isolated during this period. Coronavirus also had an impact in this case, as this was the time where initial contacts and assessments by health professionals were being undertaken by telephone. So the potential for identifying concerns at an earlier stage were limited, and it certainly meant, I'm sure everybody felt this during this time, it was more difficult to adapt your health promotion to parents and to families, because you couldn't see those things that you would normally pick up on. Practitioners downgraded really the perceived level of risk based on the fact that there were no injuries sustained by this baby. So just this case went through to a rapid review, obviously. The child did have a CP medical in the end, and it was assessed that the child had not suffered any physical harm from being shaken, which was fantastic. But the other thing that downgraded the risk to practitioners is there wasn't any visible signs of abuse. And there was no, external injuries, so the child had not been visibly injured. However, we felt that the learning needed to be that there is often no external evidence of an injury or physical signs of violence, which this results in an underdiagnosis of abusive head trauma. Caregivers and even physicians who are not aware of what has happened to a baby may not detect injuries that may be primarily internal, it attributing to a baby's fussiness or an underlying cause such as a virus. So we felt that there needed to be some learning that, you know, injuries or that cannot always be immediately seen. Some are, with some being quite life-threatening and requiring emergency hospital treatment, but others may not appear till later. And in mild cases of abusive head trauma, a child may not show any immediate external signs of physical violence or injury after being shaken, but over time they may develop health or behavioural problems such as developmental delay. So what the findings found is that there was an insufficient focus was placed on assessing the potential and ongoing risk of shaking and hitting a baby, and we need to be careful not to be influenced by the unconscious interpretations of luck when assessing current and future risk. We also need to consider the emotional and stress impact that can have upon a child when they are shaking, raised cortisol levels, impacting neural development and their emotional well-being. So despite considerable research available, the review identified a lack of understanding amongst some practitioners of the serious harm that can be caused to babies and young children through shaking and slapping, and including the risk of serious brain injury. Following that, we had that case. We then had 2 further cases of abusive head trauma in non-ambulant babies, so babies that obviously can't stand and walk for themselves, within a few months of the baby K case going to rapid review. So we decided that there obviously was an area of need here, there was an area of learning, there was an area that we needed to do some health promotion on. So we pulled all the learning from those cases and brought them together. So next slide, please. So this is what actions were taken. Obviously, we're in ICON week. We are implementing ICON within the borough of Harrow. We've also disseminated a clinical message of the week around all of our practitioners, because it's not just health practitioners or people that work in a 0 to 19 service that come across parents with young children. So it was really important that that message of ICON was disseminated out. We developed some abusive head trauma multi-agency training, and I've done that alongside with the police to deliver that. Again, we felt it wasn't something that was shouldn't just be targeted at health professionals, and in fact that needed to be delivered across the multi-agency. We're going to have that as a recurrent training in Harrow, and so far it's been really, really well received. And we have been taking a much more think family approach to our record keeping. So all records of children have their significant others linked to the children as retrievable records. So this came from both the learning from reviews and also the National Review of Non-Accidental Injuries and Under 1, which identified 70% of non-accidental injuries to children under 1 were perpetrated by men. Next slide, please.
Okay. So thanks, Laura. What I'm going to discuss now is what we're doing in health visiting. So as Laura has stated, we're linking records so they're retrievable. So that would include significant others, and not just focusing on fathers, but there are other people within the family who are significant and play a major part in the child's life. So they too needs to be targeted and educated in regards to abusive head trauma. Harrow has a very transient population, so what's good about this program is that it's across the country. there's lots of health services and others who are taking this up and running with it. So even if we have one contact with someone in Harrow and we discuss it, when they go on to somewhere else, hopefully it will be followed up and they'll be getting the same message no matter what. And that's why in particular I like ICON, because it legitimizes things. We've been talking about things for many years, but now we have evidence, etc. We have theoretical evidence which can support what we're saying and enable us to speak confidently to parents, carers, whoever it is we're passing that message on to. Now,
sorry, Monica, there is a question in, somebody's got the hand up. Would you prefer to take questions at the end? Because I know you're in the flow.
Yeah, please,
Yeah.
if that's okay.
At the end.
Yeah, thank you.
So we have been doing Safer Sleep for many years in Harrow. So we thought about how we could link ICON and not to make it too onerous on any of our staff. So what we've done is we're designing a template, and that should be out shortly, where we link ICON to Safer Sleep. So all health visitors and nursery nurses and staff nurse will discuss it. Now, we know the key points. We're going to be discussing it at our antenatal, which we've always discussed Safer Sleep anyway, antenatally. So ICON is also being discussed antenatally. We're going to discuss it at the new birth contact and also at the 6 to 8 weeks, because in Harrow the health visitors do a 6 to 8 weeks along as well as the GPs. So they're going to get it. Families will be getting it quite a few times with us. The touch point around 3 weeks, that proved a bit challenging for us as to how we would do it. And I think maybe other trusts will find the same thing. So we considered text messaging, and we're in discussion at the moment with our IT service and System 1 to sort out the text messaging. We're very close, so I'm hoping it will be up and available within the next week or so. And that's one of the reasons why we're linking all significant others. We also want their mobile numbers so that when the text message goes out, it doesn't just go to the mother of the child. It needs to go to everyone who has a relationship with that child, the significant relationship with that child. So it will go to parents, it will go to whoever else they've given us, the family has given us as significant in the child's life. MESH was one of the first places that some of us discovered the crying curve, because one of the MESH leads actually talked to us, brought it into the service and talked to us about it. We all copied it and were sharing it with clients. And we found that quite useful in showing the peak of crying, because parents don't always understand that there are peaks and troughs in crying. So we use that quite a bit. Now, I know you've got someone discussing MESH later on and how it's integrated into ICON, but it's been used in MESH for quite a while now, and you will hear about that at one of the other webinars. Now, they're also using, the health visitors are also using a doll. We have a doll to demonstrate the impact of shaken babies. Not all our clients want to see it, but nevertheless, we have to discuss it. And again, my colleague Karen will be discussing that later on as well. Discussing ICON with parents is not so difficult because we already started it. But as I said, it does legitimize it now. And the fact that other people, other services in the borough are looking at it and discussing it means that no matter where the parents go, they should be able to hear something about ICON. Thank you. Can you go to the next slide? So we said antenatal new birth 6 to 8 weeks are already in place. So what we've done, we haven't introduced anything different. We've integrated into the Healthy Child program, which we're already doing. And that makes it easier for staff to deal with and run with. The text messaging, we're hoping that administration will be able to send those text messages out at 3 weeks to our clients as well. So I'm hoping, although it's proved a little bit challenging setting up, I'm hoping once it's up and running, everything will go quite smoothly. Time is always something that comes in, because those of you who are health visitors will know that things like the new birth contact takes quite a lot of time. There's a lot of information that's being discussed with our clients, but because it's integrated, it doesn't make it that bad. And if you associate it with Safer Sleep, also the health visitors will flow into ICON very easily as well. So I think, although it may take a tiny bit of time, it shouldn't be too bad for any of our staff. The retrieval of the records we've spoken about and why we need to do it. So now we can write into any of the significant others' records to say that we've discussed ICON, or if there's anything else, any concerns or anything about the family, we can also write it into the records. Before, there was a reluctance to write in the record of fathers, but now we're integrating it and trying to make sure that we record significant information into all the relevant people's records as well. Thank you. Next slide. But before I go, I just wanted to say that if you take nothing from this webinar, take the fact that ICON is out there. We need to educate not just parents, but also anyone else involved in the child's life that crying is normal. We also need to talk about coping or comfort, things that will help the child. And if it's helping the child, it's helping the family as well. And we need to make sure that people know that, or our parents know that they can walk away, making sure the child is safe before they walk away, but they can walk away, and never to shake their baby. It's really important that we take that message on board and we run with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura and Monica. That was really, really helpful. That was really good. Thank you. I really like the fact that you're going to be using your texting service, and somebody has put in the text about at Solihull, they use Accurix text messaging, so it can be done to be set up automatically to be sent a text out, because obviously the 3-week one is always the more problematic one because it's not part of the Healthy Child programme. I think that's, and I also really like the fact that you're linking all your records and you're sending them out all carers and not just to the mums. I think that's really, really a big step in the right direction. I think that's fantastic. Suzanne's got her hand up.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Monica and Laura. It's a fantastic presentation. Really taken by your determination and your enthusiasm for ICON as well, and how you've driven it. I haven't got any questions. It's just a couple of points, really. I think, as Sue said, well done for getting that think family approach in there. I think that's something that everybody can, learn from. You've done it in a truly holistic way, haven't you? Not just even household family members, any significant people who interact with the family. I think that's absolutely brilliant. I'd love to, at some point in the future, if there was ever an opportunity, maybe do a bit of an, I don't know, survey, questionnaire, just chat, or a group chat with some of those other people, because we're hoping to develop resources for other family members, not just mum and dad, to be able to support them in having the conversations with the people in the family who've got the baby. And just about the mesh stuff as well. I mean, we were really excited when Mesh got in touch with us to ask us if we could actually integrate ICON into the Mesh manual.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a manual?
Yeah.
Is that what they call it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and I thought it was, and I don't know how many other people on the call are using Mesh, but I just think it's really exciting to integrate it with other programs. And the crying curve, that has been a fundamental part of ICON from day dot. That was in my report, Ronald Barr's work on that. So just many, many thanks. I've loved your presentation. It's very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you. I listened to you on the webinar, I think, earlier on, and if I got it right, there was a study in 2018 which said that 98% of parents will discuss it with their partner after they've had the knowledge. And I thought that is really heartwarming. I'm just really pleased about that. But still, we cannot just assume that people are going to do it. So we really still need to promote that message.
That was 2023.
Sorry.
Yes.
This year.
You're right. We can't assume, and that's exactly it. It's something we do have to promote and encourage. And I love the way you're doing it.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Anybody else got any questions? I know somebody had the hand up. Has maybe the question's been answered?
If you've got your hand up and we can't see it, just shout out.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, hi. Yes.
I had my hand up during the presentation. So I'm one of the health visitors in York, and we're really good. Well, I think we're really good at updating our groups and relationships. And I just wanted you to clarify what you meant by linking of retrievable records. So we will automatically update our groups and relationships to all household family members, but we don't routinely. So if, I don't know, there's a grandparent that cares for the child in the baby's absence, we wouldn't routinely update the groups and relationships with the grandparents' details. We would only update household members. So is that what you're saying you're doing as a service? Are you updating anybody that cares for the child in the parent's absence? Are you putting their details on groups and relationships?
Yeah, as much as possible. I mean, obviously we can't be checking in on families continuously. It's at the point that we're making contact with them that we are, taking that opportunity to say, who lives here, who has caring responsibilities for this child. We're also making sure that, especially before a new birth contact, that actually those significant others are already linked. So ideally that's done by admin, and that their records are reviewed before going in, so that you can really assess that family situation, not just from a safeguarding perspective, but also from Think Family and what kind of health promotion is required for them.
Okay. Fab, thanks.
Thank you for that, Laura. I love the fact that you're linking and, really encouraging getting all the family details. I think that's really, really a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and it's not a quick task, and that is a challenge in itself. It's not a quick task, and IT will always be an obstacle, to doing that. However, it's just so important, and to leave you with that. There's so many. I mean, I've worked in safeguarding for a few years, and sometimes I will, at a point of a safeguarding concern, go into a record and open it and find information that was available to us, but we hadn't seen, and would have changed our risk assessment in the first instance had we known that. So that's that, and I don't want to be in a situation where something horrible happens, and we could have seen that, we could have reviewed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to clarify, it is work in progress. We are doing it, but we need to get everyone doing it, and that's a challenge for us. But hopefully, in time, that will be the norm.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. It does always take time, doesn't it? But that's brilliant. Hi, Sue, you got your hand up again.
Can I ask another question? So what can I ask you what you think about us developing resources for other people outside of the family, outside of the immediate family? Would you support that as something that would be useful? Do you think would you be able to use that?
I think the resources would be great, because anybody with caring responsibilities for a child needs to be given that ICON message. So I think Monica would probably be best placed to think about how we would disseminate that from our service, but I'm sure there are also other services that can be used as well.
Yeah, I mean, we'd put it centrally on our website and stuff, but I'm thinking of setting up a bit of a working group. I saw a couple of thumbs up there. If anybody wants to put in the chat that they think that that'd be a good idea, then I'd get a sense of how many people, because I've lost the thumbs up, I get a sense of how many people would support it. Don't worry, I'm not going to grab you all and insist you attend. But if I just, you know, don't want to do something if people think, oh no, it's not a very good idea. But if you're saying, you know, something that you could perhaps use in your practice, that would be smashing. If others could give us that indication as well, we will. It is one of our priorities for this year, so we'll crack on and do it. Thank you. Oh, Laura, you're back. You were frozen for such a long time there. It was really odd because you were speaking but you weren't moving.
Goodness, great. So is that going to go on the recording?
I think Jenny's got her hand up.
Hello. Hiya. Just say we literally had our ICON steering group down here in Sussex this morning. And that is exactly what we've been talking about, is resources for other people. And what we noticed on the crying plan is that it says my crying plan.
Yes.
So it doesn't say our crying plan or anything else. And I know that we can't particularly adapt that locally. I know other stuff we can. So I think anything like that, Sue, that would really help us in trying to, because one of our conversations was around parents, fathers and non-birthing parents as well, and making sure that the resources we share actually are relevant to them. And we talked as well about the time it takes to really engage with those other people who are caring for that baby, but the importance of that where we're sharing the ICON message. So just to say, yes, fully endorse that, and I will be on your working group if you'd like.
Oh, right, you're on. Cheers, Jenny. And that's an easy first step, isn't it? Just changing that crying plan from my to our. So that'll be the first thing we do. Thanks, Jenny.
Anybody got any more questions or comments? That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Monica and Laura, again.
Thank you.
I'll put the link in the chat again for the evaluation. It is on individual webinars. If you don't mind just doing that for a couple of seconds, that'd be brilliant. Thank you. And if anybody has any questions, please contact me via my ICON Cope email, and I can direct them to Monica or Laura.
Thank you.
So
Thanks,
we will.
everyone.
Thank you very much.
That's brilliant. Thank
Bye.
you.
So, guys, that's excellent. Thank you.
Bye.
So we will be returning tomorrow with some more webinars tomorrow morning. We've got Craig Johnson from who's a school nurse in the military. He's going to come and talk to us at 10 o'clock in the morning. So that'd be brilliant. Thank you.
It will. Smashing. Thank you. See you all tomorrow.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.